Hi, everybody. I hope you had a good day, and I hope you had a chance to spend some time with your friends and enjoy the summer. This story continues where we were last night. We talked about one of Jesus' friends who turned out not to be as good a friend as he had hoped. But the story starts out today with two of Jesus' good friends who did stick around and who stood by him. Um, their names were Peter and John, and they were along with him and the other disciples in Jerusalem to celebrate the holiday called the Passover. And one of the things that happens to celebrate the Passover is that they would get together and they would eat a big meal together. And while they eat the meal, they retell the story of the passing over of the angel of death when the Israelites were in Egypt. And although everybody else lost someone in the house, that they were all okay, enough to make the Pharaoh let them go. And that's what the holiday was about. And they would celebrate it with this big meal and retelling the story. But they needed a place to do it because they were visiting. So this is where we pick up the story. Jesus had sent Peter and John to prepare a room for the Passover meal. And before the two left, Jesus told them that there would be a man carrying a jar of water who would meet them as they went into the city. They were staying a little bit outside the city in a place called Bethany. Peter and John were to follow this man to his house. And they were to say, "Do you have a room where we can have our Passover meal?" And Jesus said that the man would show them to a room. And so Peter and John did that, and they found a man with a jar, and he showed them to a room. It was upstairs. Sometimes they call it an upper room. And later, Jesus and all 12 of his disciples, that included Judas, we're going to come back to that. They all gathered together in this room to celebrate Passover. And Jesus had told them how to prepare the meal, and they did everything just like Jesus told them to. And they had plenty of bread and plenty of wine for everybody. Well, something happened before the meal. Let me tell you about that. People, when they walked around in those days, they walked around in bare feet or wearing sandals, and they were walking on dirt roads. So sometimes they'd step in mud, or sometimes it would be dusty. Their feet would get really, really dirty and probably pretty stinky too. And so it would be the job of whoever was inviting people to a meal to make sure that somebody had been around. One of the servants usually would meet them at the door and would give them some water to wash their hands. Hand washing is very important right now. Be sure you always wash your hands, not only when you eat, but other times and just times when you don't even think you need to. Good idea to do it right now. But it wasn't just their hands that they would wash at that point. Somebody would help them wash their feet. Their dirty, stinking feet. Their P-U feet. But it had to be done. It would help people feel welcome. Well, they started the meal, and Jesus realized that nobody had done that for everybody as they arrived. They were in a strange place. Everybody had a different job. They'd probably been overlooked. So he got up, and he found a basin and a towel and a pitcher of water, and he poured the water out, and he went around from person to person with all his disciples, and he said, "Hang on a second, before we go any further, I'm going to wash your feet." Him? It wasn't the host, it wasn't the important person that would wash people's feet. It was supposed to be the job of an unimportant person. but he did it. It's like taking out the trash. Nobody wants to do it, but it's got to be done. And Jesus didn't make a big deal out of it. He said, listen, I want all of you to understand this. He said, if I can do this, and I can serve you, and I'm the one that's throwing the whole party, then you guys can all serve each other. Whether it's washing each other's feet, or caring for each other, or taking out the trash, whatever it happens to be. There's no job that we're too good for, and there's no job that's too bad for us. If something has to be done, it has to be done, and if it helps somebody, especially if it helps somebody, just do it. That's what Jesus did. He just did it. And it showed how much he cared. So, tomorrow morning, after breakfast, do your own dishes. And if it's trash day, maybe offer to put the trash out. If it's recycling, maybe offer to put that by the curb. If your sister has been playing with mud pies and she's a mess, maybe you can offer to hold the hose while she washes her hands off. Maybe you can help your parents wash the car. And guess what? That's kind of fun to do. A lot of things that people think aren't any good can be a little bit of fun too if you enjoy what you're doing. And Jesus taught us that because he loves us. Just like other people that do things for us because they love us. And if we love each other, we can do those things too. There's another thing. You're going to go to bed. In the morning, you can make your own bed when you get up. How about that? And if you can't come up with something, I'm sure your parents can come up with something for you to do. Whatever it is, have fun with it. See you tomorrow. Bye.